What is up? What about that one, huh? Get you some of that. Man, that's the craziest one of all of them. Because you look at the Ole Miss game, they were down about that much. They might have been down 19 at Ole Miss. And, I mean, the fact that it's on the road is tougher, I think. But this game, I thought Auburn was completely flatline. Like, I mean, no way. No way they're even going to get back in the game, much less win it. Much less win it by a decent margin. I didn't see that one coming at all. This team was dead. And so, when we sit around and talk about this game, we can talk about Samir, and I thought he was a beast, obviously. And we can talk about Devin Cambridge hitting those threes, and they were huge. And Javon did a great job distributing and just managing the situation during the last 10 minutes. Everybody deserves credit. But Jalen Williams gets in there, and he plays his ass off. He replaces D'Angelo, and he brings a passion and a fury that I didn't think we saw from other people prior to that. A little bit from Flanagan, but not enough. Jalen gets in there. That whole situation blows up. Then D'Angelo actually plays better. Anthony plays better. And everybody just starts going. And the defensive intensity stepped up. Jalen Williams was the impetus for that win right there. Now, he doesn't have the biggest numbers, but he's the reason they ended up getting to a position to win that game. A lot of guys played well in the last 10 minutes. Not taking that away. But without Jalen, man, ain't happening. Ain't happening. Let's see what's going on. We got a lot going on in the chat. What up, Matthew M? I know you, man. Welcome to the show. You know you're always welcome to have a front row seat at this one, bad boy. Playa. We got a lot of our regular folks here. I love that our first comment is Andrew B. complaining about D'Angelo. All these things happening. It's like, why do we still play D'Angelo? Come on, man. Lots of good things going on today. Alpha Tiger 08 says DCAM coming up bigly. They were giving him way too much room. Yeah. Cambridge hit some big clutch shots, man. Just kind of doing what he does. He's like becoming what Jamal was, and Jamal isn't anymore. Renard Williams says Auburn basketball equals dying 3 times every game. It really is getting that way, isn't it? Oh, my goodness. Blake D's in the house. Mr. Positive. He says, I must say I love Jalen's contribution and energy. What a great team. Come back and win. Love to my Auburn family. I love the positivity, Blake. You're the man. Absolutely. Bob, blah, blah, blah. Says Jalen Williams has arrived. Misspelled his name, but that's okay. We know what you mean. And absolutely, this kid, you got to give it to GG32 on the bunker, man. He was clamoring for Jalen Williams. He's been clamoring for Jalen Williams. I bet there's a few others, but GG32 had the flag up on the front of that bus. And, hey, man, Jalen Williams, he played. I thought he was pretty good the other day. I mean, defensively, he wasn't really there, but he was helping some things. And, yeah, he played better today. He was good today. You look at it, really, they only had one player. Let me get that box score up. Samir had 22. And Auburn's there on the bottom, had 22. Nobody else gets in double figures. Which really isn't that big a deal because everybody was putting the ball in the bucket. I mean, Javon with 8, Austin Wiley with 9, Jalen had 8, Devin Cambridge had 9. So everybody's helping, you know? And that's what BP would always say last year. We're at our best and everybody's contributing, and that's what we saw tonight. Everybody was doing their thing. At least during the last 14 minutes of that game. Because Auburn's down 17 at the 14-minute mark. And at that point, we're all sitting there going, oh, my God. It just can't get worse. Because Tennessee's not even that good, right? And then here it comes. And they get a 10-0 run going. Timeout. Then they extend it up to 18-0. And we're like, what the hell? And then it gets to 20-2. And you're like, oh, my gosh, they're really going to get it going. And then, yeah, that was crazy. Absolutely crazy. Our first super chat from my friend and my man, Nick S. Says Williams definitely needs to be part of the regular rotation. No doubt about it, man. In fact, I might even be tempted to start him now. I'm serious. I mean, he's got to do some things defensively. He's got to be a little bit better there. You know, he has kind of a stocky body. He's not fat. He's just a stocky dude. And he was saying on the postgame show, I was able to hear that while I was getting the show ready, that he needs to learn how to body up some of these dudes. He would have had to go against Pons today a lot. And although Jalen has a stronger body than Pons, was a little taller and understood positioning a lot better. Man, Pons to me is what Ant should be, you know? Like that stretch four that pulls people out of the lane, that can hit some threes. Yeah, he was good for them, I thought. And, of course, Bowden was insane. 28 points, 9 of 12 shooting. It seems like every daggone game somebody's doing that. And that was going on even with Isaac on the court. But you got to think he would have made a difference defending Bowden. Absolutely. Oh, let's see what else we got going on in the chat. Captain Eagle Flygood's in early. You usually come in right at the end with a little drive-by action, but glad to have you here starting. Says, what up, my dudes? Willie Boy AU says they play different positions. Typically, Flanny played fine today. He was solid on D. Absolutely. Flanagan's usually pretty solid on D. It's the offense. And, you know, you kind of see it today. He did hit a three, to be fair, but it's like he's not facing the basket when he shoots. He's twisted to his right, or like clockwise, I guess. It's like 2 o'clock to him versus most people are shooting straight on. I don't know. He's left-handed, whatever. You know, so you're speaking a different language and you're left-handed. Andrew B says, D'Angelo is cutting my lifespan every time he steps on the floor. It's that panic, huh? You're just like, what's he going to do wrong? You know, the first defensive possession of the game, he actually had a great steal today. I was like, he's going to turn it around today. And then, not so much. Caddy Wampus in the house with a super chat. Thank you, Caddy Wampus. You've been with us pretty much the whole basketball season. It's awesome having you here. Appreciate that. He says, can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning. Speaking of that, yes. Okay, so last night, my administrative assistant, who's not here, managed to use her connections to land us a brand new bottle of Blanton's. And the irony is that when we opened it up, and it was exactly 1 year old, so the dump date was 1/21/19, and last night was 2/21/19. We got another super chat coming through. Call Me Biscuit. Thank you, Call Me Biscuit. You're always here for us. How about Voodoo Rundown on Tuesday, drinking baseball, 5 p.m., Ole Miss at 7? I don't want to do that. The reason I don't want to do that is because, you know, they got the basketball game Tuesday night. So we need to tape the rundown on Monday so that we don't release the rundown like an hour before the basketball game starts. So we will probably be doing rundown at Voodoo on, I guess it depends a little bit about when availability is for BP, because sometimes it's at 11 and sometimes it's at 2. So we're either going to be going at like ideally 12:30. But I'll try to let you guys know if you really are interested in going and hanging out. We always run into folks there. We'd rather not say when it's actually going to happen because we don't want Charlie to come. We try to keep Charlie out of that. So we try to keep it secret. If you guys are friends with Charlie or you know Charlie, let's just keep it quiet. Let's leave him out of it, okay? I'm talking about Charlie 5, not Charlie 99 or whoever the other guy is. Let's see what else we got. Willie Boy, you again says Jalen played great today on defense, and I want to see him run a little point forward. Interesting. He did. He had a couple really good plays coming way off the top. That was good stuff. He had that little floater, and then he had a couple really deft passes. So I think you're onto something there. He's better than I don't know. I thought he would be good on that end. I just thought defensively he was going to be a 0, and he wasn't a 0. He's better than Jamal. And I don't know as though we saw enough exposure today to tell if he's a good defender or not. I don't think he's bad. I don't think he's horrible. I mean, I think he's playable if he's going to help you a lot on the other end, particularly if Isaac comes back, because then you have more of a defensive presence anyway. Let's see. I think we're getting some weird, flirty chatter coming from Corny. Talking to Amanda M. She says, I like the name Amanda. I feel like Amanda. Anyway. Bob Lob says Wiley struggles handling the ball. Too many strips. Yes. So what it is, If you notice, first of all, he's got a couple weird things about him. He's like the tallest dude on the floor with really long arms. He's always low with the ball. Don't know why. So after a rebound, he always goes low and then goes back up. And everybody on earth knows it, so they're ready for him and they strip it. Or when he gets the ball on the block to initiate an offensive move, the first thing he does is bounces the ball. And if you watch Tennessee today, they were doing whatever they could do to come along the baseline and just swipe at that ball. They knocked it out twice. And then another time, they deflected it back into his hands, and he was all like frayed out and flipped out. It's a good scouting report. Their coach, Rick Barnes, is a good coach. Yeah, he doesn't have quite the horsepower that he did last year, but he will. That Bowden kid was tearing it up, and I like their Uruguayan point guard. He's tall, and he's quick, and he's good, and if he wasn't a true freshman, I bet he'd be out there balling up. I mean, he balled up kind of today anyway, but Auburn alumni says he's lost 27 and a half years of his lifespan following Auburn basketball this season. Yeah, it's been that kind of a year, hasn't it? But at least it's generally satisfying, right? I mean, 25-4? Is that what they are? I should know that. 24-4. I've got that on the crawl, and I typed it in myself, but I still don't remember. How bad is that? Pitiful. Absolutely pitiful. Let me get that up here real quick. I want to make sure I get all this right. So Auburn was the first game of the day in the SEC. So I'm going to put up the standings here in a minute. Auburn is indeed 22-4. Nope, I'm sorry. Auburn is 23-4, 10-4. Sorry, guys. My bad. That's the first game of the day. So I was going to show you the updated standings as of this moment. You've got Auburn there high. Kentucky and Florida play tonight or today. So that's going to be a little bit of a showdown. But Auburn maintaining its position there pretty high in the table standings, as we call them here in America. 15-0 at home. I think Auburn's won 18 in a row at home overall. And like 43 of 44 or something like that. How about that? So Auburn is definitely staying ahead of the curve, so to speak. And the goal really is you want to get one of those top 4 seeds. That's where Auburn would really, really, really like to be to get some bye action when it comes to the SEC tournament. Bob, blah, 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 says, when is Ice Okoro expected to return? So he was back at practice yesterday, and he was doing some work. They were really encouraged about it. He just was saying it's a little bit tight, and it's an injury that he's dealt with before in high school where they got a little too aggressive with it, and brought him back a little too early, and it was just kind of a nagging issue for him for most of his senior year. And I think they really want to avoid that right now. So he practiced, still had a little tightness. The observer, the person that I talked to yesterday, thought that he was at about 75%, something like that. And there's a little concern because he got better very quickly after the initial injury. I think that was against Alabama. Let me take a look at that schedule. Excuse me. Come here, buddy. Yeah, it would have been the Alabama game late. 2 minutes left. He got better really quick, like the first 3 days. I mean, he was getting better a lot. And now it's almost like he's plateaued a little bit, or he's just getting a little bit better at a time. So BP decided to hold him out today. And I suspect he's going to be out against Ole Miss, if I had to guess. And then, in my opinion, Kentucky is iffy. I don't know if it's worth the Kentucky game. If it's like, hey, we would rather not play him against Kentucky, then I think they'll hold him out and then aim for that A&M game at home. That gives you another full week and a half to get things put back together, make sure he's 100% going into the postseason, because they do need him. I mean, they do need him in March. So that's kind of the way I'm looking at it right here. Amanda M. says we need Florida to beat Kentucky. That would be good to make sure Auburn gets another half step up in the standings. Auburn alumni agrees, says yes, go Gator. Not likely, but even if there's a chance at still winning a regular season title, hell yes, you root for Florida and you fight for that top spot down the stretch. Of course you do. Of course you do. Useless Thoughts Podcast. I have a suspicion I know who this is, it's a great name. I have never had one single doubt in this team. Shout out to me. It's good stuff, man. Nick says, you think Okoro plays Tuesday? I do not. I don't expect that to happen. I don't. And Amanda says we can't beat Kentucky without Okoro, which I agree with, but I don't know if beating Kentucky is important at this point. Like, it's important, but is it worth potentially mortgaging the rest of the season by having Okoro get injured again? That's the thing. It's kind of a risk-reward ratio, in my opinion. But it's possible that by the time they get to that game, which is 1 week from today, he may be 100%, and at which point they'd play him, of course. So there you go. That's kind of what I'm seeing. Farm Data says, I think we struggle with Ole Miss without Okoro. I agree with that, too. Guys, you guys know that I've been a big Ole Miss basketball believer this year, and they're not great. Take a look at the standings. I'm sure they're bottom half. 4-9. But they're better than that, and they gave Auburn all kinds of fits over in Oxford earlier this year. Now, Auburn generally has trouble over there, so it's not shocking that they had trouble. But Ole Miss is a good individual team. They've got some good individual players. So I agree with you, Farm Data. I think it's going to be tough. So there you go. As far as liquor, administrative assistant decided last night that due to some work struggles, work frustrations, that we needed to get ripped last night. So we got ripped, and we went out to our favorite watering hole, and I met bunker member Chuck Wagon. And he was throwing down with some of his friends there as well, and it was nice meeting a bunker folk. And also I ran into another bunker dude at Marguerite's. He was, I think, I'm not going to say his name because it could be anybody. I don't want to ruin any presents. But, yeah, he was at Marguerite's sizing up some rings. So good luck to him whenever that goes down, assuming he's picking the right girl, which, goes without saying, right? I'm going to start off with a little. No, I'm not, actually. God dang it. I forgot about what I had here. Hold on. Got a little something special for this one. I'm actually going to pour some water in here to make sure I've got no residue. I got a little something special. All right, so today, our friend Chase Parnham over at the Ole Miss site, he does a little bourbon show, and he had gotten a hold of a Maker's Mark bottle, which he said was from the 70s. I don't know if that's even true. And he acted like he had really found gold, like it was something real special nobody else had. Well, guess what? Your boy JG got a bottle of that same stuff he had, which is the gold Maker's Mark willed to me years ago. That's my granddad and my uncle, Jason Tate, Jim Gillis, ABC Concrete, which is what our family company was back in the late 70s, early 80s. So I got this. I have not had a sip of this, but I want to have a sip of it today. So this has been sitting in this bottle since, at the absolute latest, 85. And on the early end, it could be 77. It's somewhere in that range. I would guess it's older. It's like on the older end. It's been open, but there's really nothing missing. I mean, it's like full. And this was in my grandma's house, and she was a stickler for stuff like this. So we're going to have a little sip of this. This is that Maker's Mark Gold 100 proof. Let's have at it. My granddad. Good God. That was hot. Hotter than I thought it would be. Kind of mellows out pretty quick, though. I'm not a big Maker's Mark fan anymore. Like when I was a kid, well, you know how it is at college. When I was in college, Maker's Mark is what everybody drank. I just kind of got tired of it, and so I don't drink Maker's Mark much anymore. So I'm not used to it. It takes some, as Les Miles will say, it takes some chest to drink a lot of Maker's Mark, I think. I mean, it's good. It's pretty pleasing, but it's not like life-changing. I don't know. And when I was a kid, you get a hold of some gold Maker's Mark, and you really found something. They don't even make it anymore. They stopped making it a long time ago. I think it was because it was, you could make more of the diluted stuff versus that. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that. Wish I could give you all some through the YouTubes. Let's talk about this game a little bit more. Let me put that final box up there. Close. There we go. A few things that I want to mention. We talked about Jalen Williams earlier. And although he didn't have like the greatest game statistically, 8 points on 4 of 7 shooting, 2 rebounds, 3 steals though. And Auburn had a lot of steals today. Auburn created a lot of turnovers, and that was a big part of that game. I thought Jalen's effort was huge. I think that him, when he goes in for one shift, nobody's really freaking out. But when he goes in for a second shift and a third shift, it's kind of like, oh my gosh, he's really playing now. And he's out there playing smart too, And I think that got him going. I think it was like, oh, damn, is this kid going to come out here and play fearless and get us going? Well, then I need to step up. And that's what Samir's thinking, and that's what Javon's thinking, and that's what Dangel's thinking, and Ant. And I think it really got him going. The 18-0 run I did not see coming. No way. Like, I would have put that at 0.0. Like, Auburn, I don't say that very often when I'm watching Auburn stuff, but I remember that game against Georgia in 2005, I think, with Brandon Cox. It was like 4th in a million, and they were at Georgia, and I was like, there is no way they're going to get the first down. 0.0, no way. Not with Brandon Cox, not with this offense sucking, not at Georgia, et cetera, et cetera. And, of course, that's the play that went for the touchdown. And I was like, I'm never going to say never again. So I didn't today, but I just thought this game was over for sure, and it wasn't. 18-0 run turns into a 20-2 run, and they actually get ahead. And, the funny thing is, okay, so Tennessee scores to go up 17 at the 14:30 mark or something like that. And by the time we hit the 8-minute mark, Auburn's made up all that ground. I mean, it came about that quickly. Now, there were some timeouts in there, so in actual real-life time, it took longer. And they're right back in the game at the 8-minute mark. That's incredible. So what happened in the second half? Well, Jalen was playing more. Defense was better. Rebounding got a whole lot better. And they created turnovers. And they got out in transition. And they got the ball to the cup. They were playing Auburn basketball during the final 15 minutes. And I don't know what they were doing before that. It wasn't Auburn. I'm sitting here babbling. Let's see what we got here going on. Paul West says, JG, should Williams start over Purifoy? In my opinion, yes. I'd be willing to give him a shot at Ole Miss and see what happens. Against Ole Miss, I should say, and see what happens. I think he brings a lot. And I don't think Dangel's bringing a lot. We'll see what BP thinks about that. Ravin Patel, what up, bro? Says, hey, JG, how you doing? Glad to have you here with us today. The official bourbon of the day is this 1792 Bottle and Bond. It's an ABC Barrel Select. And good solid bourbon. I did have a slug of some vintage, I guess you call that Maker's 100 from the late 70s or early 80s, and it was good. It was very alcohol forward. I'm not sure why. Maybe some of you bunker experts can tell me why. It seemed alcohol forward, but it was generally pleasing. Happy to have that. Now I'm going to pour some of this 1792 Bottle and Bond. Well, probably like the whole line of 1792 bourbons is probably your best bet, I think, for starters. It's first of all, it's good inoffensive bourbon, and second of all, you can get the full proof stuff for like $40 or maybe even less than that, maybe 35. But it's a good bourbon for that. It's a contender for a JG Tate best value bourbon. At that point, at that price point, like let's say 30 to 45. I would definitely put it as a nominee in there. You guys know JG, your boy likes to go the cheap route. So, 35 is a little high for me, but it's good bourbon. Amanda M says, who is the MVP today? It'd be hard to say no to Samir because he was the one that was actually putting the ball in the hole in the second half. And without him, I don't know. It didn't seem like other guys were really that interested in being super assertive on the scoring end, and Samir did not mind, and I thought he was good challenging at the bucket and getting the ball in. Now, he missed some free throws. He missed the front end of 1-on-1s twice in the last 5 minutes, which normally would be a killer. They ended up getting out of it, no problem, but that was not clutch. But he did a lot of good things. And then for me, my second choice would probably be Jalen. Jalen did a lot of good stuff today, and the effect that he has on this team from a chemistry perspective and the fact of, oh, shit, I've got a freshman who's taking my minutes. I got to step it up and actually play this game right. Like, did you see the point? I don't know if you guys noticed this. About 10 minutes to go, Auburn was running half court. A BP called I think it was 2 down. And D'Angelo didn't know where to go. D'Angelo's 23 years old. He's been at Auburn since like 1999. And Austin is berating him, telling him where he needs to go and what he needs to do. And then D'Angelo runs around like a chicken with his head cut off. And then he made a mistake that ended up ruining the possession, D'Angelo did. And Austin seemed very frustrated, and I understand why. You're expecting your senior teammates to know where to go. I don't know. So I would go with Jalen myself. Blake D agrees with me as well. Says, I agree. Let's see more Jalen Williams spelled incorrectly, but it's still cool. We can understand what it's Jaylin. You're not the first one, Blake. I'm not making fun of you. Kyle W. says D'Angelo's defense down the stretch was pretty crucial and not being discussed. Jalen still struggling a little bit, being in the right place and moving his feet. That's true. I thought D'Angelo, his best minutes were at the end there. He got hit on that 3, hit all 3 free throws. That was pretty clutch. He had active hands. He's got the ability. That's why BP keeps running him out there. I think people on the bunker keep saying, why does D'Angelo play so much? It's because he's got it, man. He has the ability, and he does it in practice. And then he gets out in games and he gets scatterbrained. But then he will do some good stuff too. And the people in there think he's the best shooter they've got. Now, statistically, it's not bearing that out. But we can see his shot. It's a pretty shot. And it needs to go down more for him to be a consistent contributor in a three-point range perspective. But they think he's got it. At this point, well, let me rephrase that. Prior to today, I didn't blame them. Like, let's just keep running out D'Angelo because who else are you going to run out there? But now that we've seen Jalen is actually at least competent, if not better than that, now I'd be tempted to play Jalen more and say, okay, look, his baseline is really good because he's out there today in a tough situation. He's playing pretty good basketball, right? Let's give him the Ole Miss game. Let's give him at Kentucky because that's going to be a mess. It's 23,000 people just down your throat every minute. Let's give him a few starts here, and let's see what happens because we know what D'Angelo can do. And maybe being on the bench is going to spur D'Angelo to become the guy that we think he can be. But let's invest that time into Jalen right now because, hey, if this is his baseline and we can get him 25% better between now and the NCAA tournament, well, shit, all of a sudden you've got yourself a player now that you didn't have before because you were just going 8 deep on the bench. Now you got 9 guys you feel good about. That makes a big difference to me. Let's see. Did somebody get ejected? I didn't see anybody get ejected, but I'm sorry. So Phil says nobody knows anything about the Auburn fan that got ejected. Okay, now we're talking. So this would have been the pseudo pejorative that was caught on TV, right? It was a student, presumably an Auburn student. I guess it could have been a Tennessee student. It doesn't make any sense to do that. Saying, telling the point guard from Tennessee to go back to Uruguay or whatever. Man, I don't know the answer to that. Taylor G says the guy was ejected and banned from Auburn Arena. Phil C says the beat reporters asked Rick Barnes about it, and the Auburn guys didn't want it discussed. Interesting. Yeah, I need to know more about that. I don't know. I mean, it's not a good look, but I mean, if we're talking about something, it's not quite rising to the level of terroristic threatening. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Maybe I just didn't hear it, and maybe I don't appreciate it because I've been doing this technical stuff. I don't know. It's not great. It's not great. Lifetime ban from the arena. It is dopey though, Phil. You're right about that. It's I mean it's a bad look. I mean it's not something that people should be saying. I agree completely. I don't know. My best friend is Uruguayan. Like seriously, and his mom's from Montevideo. So I don't know. I kind of live that life a little bit because I hang out. I mean, I like him so much, and I know his mom, and I've known him for a long time. So I don't know. I doubt he would be like angry about it, but it's not a good look. Ben B says student doesn't even know where Uruguay is. Oh. I know where Uruguay is. I'd like to go down there sometime. And plus, I play FIFA with Uruguayan players, yo. Luis Suarez, Diego Godin, Diego Forlan is one of my all-time favorites. Valverde, Betancourt. Who else we got? Come on, my FIFA peoples. Laxalt. Diego Laxalt. Jimenez. Muslera. Yeah, Phil, that is a point, though. Vescovi, who is the Uruguayan point guard from Tennessee, considering he's a true freshman, he's pretty damn good. He's going to tear up. He's going to wreck some shop in the next 2 or 3 years. There's no doubt about that. Interesting path to Auburn, though. I mean, he's from Uruguay, obviously. Played in Australia as part of a NBA, like a foreign academy, developmental academy. And makes his way here. It's good stuff. Torre, come on, that's a low blow. Says, can you bite people with Suarez in FIFA? Now, that's mean. Andrew B says the same thing. Listen, those were misunderstandings, guys. Sometimes you're playing a soccer match and someone's shoulder just hits you in the mouth. And you just bite down. I mean, things like that happen sometimes. Ask Giorgio Chiellini about that. If Chiellini doesn't put his shoulder in Suarez's mouth, he doesn't get bitten. It's that simple. Alpha Tiger says maybe he was just ejected for being dumb and thinking it was in Europe. Not a good look for prospective students visiting that our geography is so bad. Sav0326 says Flanagan's basketball IQ is questionable. I say you play Williams more over him. Yeah, I don't know about that because those guys play different positions. And you can change it up a little bit. Excuse me. Jalen is a 4. Jalen's a stretch 4 for Auburn. I don't think he has the quickness to defend people from the wing position. So at the wing, you're looking at Ice, and then Flanagan is his backup. And then I would say Dangel's probably your third choice there. Jalen's not super quick. He's good. I've been really impressed with him so far, but he's not super quick. And you definitely wouldn't want him guarding other people's small forwards. No, I don't think you'd want to do that. Kyle W. says, JGT, what do you think about Turbo taking Jamal's minutes if he keeps playing this badly? Well, at this point, so I heard a lot of chatter about Jalen's defense not being good enough, and that was the reason he wasn't playing. And then now he's playing some, and although his defense I wouldn't say is his calling card at this point, he still looks pretty good to me defensively. So it's not that I'm like questioning people's thoughts about things that are inside the arena, inside the coaching staff. I would like to see Turbo and just see what he does, but the last time we saw him, he was very turnover prone, so that would be a problem. Torre says Luis Suarez was a cannibal serial killer in another life. You stop that talk, man. Luis Suarez is one of my all-time favorite players, so you can just back up, buddy. And those bitings are a misunderstanding, okay? A misunderstanding. Amanda M says Jalen has earned it. I tend to agree with you. I think he deserves more run. He got a good amount of minutes tonight, though. What did he finish with? 15 minutes. He goes -4, but I mean, it's a little misleading. I don't know. Plus minus can be weird sometimes. He led the team in plus minus, or was it Ant the other day? Yeah, Ant led the team in plus minus the other day, and he had a bad game. So I don't know. Mac ends up leading the team this time. He goes plus 20 in 18 minutes because he was on the floor for that big resurgence. It was basically whoever was on the floor from the 10:30 mark to the 7-minute mark is who got all the plus minus today, which obviously, as you can see, is Samir, Anthony, Devin, Javon, and I guess Purifoy. Yeah. That's what you're looking at. Carrie J says, great comeback, War Eagle from Nashville, Tennessee. Was a great comeback. Glad to have you tuning in, Carrie J. Bob Lob Lob says, do you think Ice will stick around to play with Sharif Cooper next year? I do not. I think that Isaac, I think he has played at a level that's going to get him pretty high in the draft at this point. I mean, would he like to play with Sharif? Hell yes. Would love it. He'd love to play with him and Jalen Green. But I just don't think it's going to be I don't think it's going to work. I don't think it's going to work. I think he's going to be a top 10 pick. And if he's a top 10 pick, he's got to go. I mean, that's just too much money to walk away from. Because you're running the risk of getting hurt. Whereas, you're a top 10 pick. You're guaranteed. I don't know. You guys would know more maybe about it than I do. But, well, some of you stat nerds, you're probably guaranteed $7 to $10 million with those contracts. And that's, you're done. I mean, if you keep it conservative, you're done for life at that point, right? I think we can all take $7 or $8 million and we're good. You have to live in a regular house like me and y'all, or some of y'all, and not a big NBA player mansion, but you can make it work. Kenneth N. asks a good question. Where in the hell did Williams come from and why hasn't he played more? Good question. They weren't ready to give up on D'Angelo just yet, I guess is the short answer. I love the answer that Jalen had on the show today on postgame when Andy asked him about playing. He said, listen, man, D'Angelo got into some foul trouble and had to step up. I was like, D'Angelo really wasn't in foul trouble, but that was a great comeback. It takes the pressure off of D'Angelo. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, that quick. Instead of being like, I don't know, coach just said he wanted me to play over him, and I just do what I got to do. It kind of makes D'Angelo look bad, even though Jalen didn't say anything wrong. But when you say, well, he was in foul trouble, I had to come in and step up, it's like, oh, well, D'Angelo, I mean, the refs were screwing him. What can you do? What are you going to do? It was very, very sharp. Bob Lob 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 says, it makes me think of Lob Lolly Stable, Bob. Your name does. It reminds me of, that's where some of my favorite horses from the 90s, race horses, including Prairie Bayou. Great horse from the early 90s, is now buried at Lob Lolly Farm in Skylight, Kentucky. He says, what are Auburn's chances with Jalen Green? You're asking me, and I'm not the expert. Jeffrey Lee is the expert. But if you're asking me, I think Auburn's got a really good shot at getting Jalen Green. But remember this, Jalen Green is a shooting guard. He's a big shooting guard, but he's a shooting guard. So these issues that I have in my head about who's going to be playing the post for Auburn next year, they are not assuaged by Jalen Green. They need post dudes. Pretty much now. Not like this minute, but 4 months from now, they need more post dudes because although I'm really encouraged by the way Jalen's been playing, you need more than Jalen and Stretch next year. I don't know what to expect from Stretch. I think he's good, but I don't know. And that's pretty much it. I mean, the kid from Memphis is going to come in and play, and I like him, but even he's kind of an undersized 4. So I don't know. Need some big dudes. Avery's in the house. Avery F., one of our friends from the Rebel Grove sphere. Word, Avery. Glad to have you on the show. I need to get over to Oxford again and hang out with you and your hubby. And Neil and his wife, of course. And Kara. Oh, God, that hit the wrong way. Dang. Good solid bourbon. We're drinking that 1792 bottled in bond, despite what I just did there, choking on it. It's been pretty good. Good solid bourbon doesn't really hit you, except for that one right there, but inoffensive. Just good. Good solid. Relatively inexpensive bourbon. Avery F. says, did you see Bruce Pearl on The Bachelor? I did. I thought it was quintessential BP. Like it's like BP when he's got the cameras on him. Love him. He's so good at it. He's a great marketer. He's probably the best marketer in like the world. Like seriously. He could make $1 million doing something else. He could make $1 million as a Wall Street marketer of some kind. If he wasn't a basketball coach, he's just so good at it. The performance of the day on The Bachelor, though, was definitely my man, Chad Pruitt, father of Madison, when he's like, so do you love her? And the dude's like, I'm getting to know her, and I like her a lot. And Chad goes, yeah, okay. I love disapproving dad. I love it because it's a role I play sometimes. It's a good time. A super chat coming through from StewPup74, one of our all-time superstar badass folks here on the chat who's been around a long time. Says Jalen, you almost spelled it right there, StewPup. Jalen was given a ton of effort when the team wasn't. If this team would play together and as hard as they do down 10 all the time, it would be nice. Very good point. We've been thinking for a while now that this team just likes playing from behind. Like they just like knowing what they've got to accomplish to get the win, you know? When you're in the front, you don't know how far the people behind you are. You know, I don't know what it's going to take. We're already up 6. But when you're down 16, you know you got to get 17. Some people just like playing that way, and maybe you've just got a group of guys that like playing that way. I don't know. Johnny B. Good agrees with me that Chad Pruitt was definitely the performance of the year. Oh, that was great. When he just totally stares at him and goes, yeah, okay. Thanks for that. Thanks for nothing. The guy's a total wimp, though. Not Chad. I'm talking about the Bachelor. Pilot Pete. Pilot Pete is a beta, I think. Administrative assistant has arrived after a early morning training, and I'm impressed that administrative assistant made it. Well, not she's like 100 out of 100 for getting to where she needs to be on time, but it would have been a challenge this morning, I think. I mean, she's of age, so she can certainly drink all she would like, but I had a sip of this. Huh? I did what I tell all of my viewers to do, which is when you're drinking, guys, you stay hydrated, okay? I have many times on the bunker shared with you my anti-hangover remedy, which we got from our friend Jen, who actually got it from her brother, who's a pharmacist. But it's really as simple as just staying hydrated. So when we're drinking last night at the bar, I'm drinking ice water. Stay drinking it, man. I'm drinking it right now, in fact. You see that? I was drinking that. It's easy to forget to stay hydrated because you're thinking to yourself, I'm drinking. I'm hydrated. There's actual liquid going down my throat. But no, you need water. And if you stay hydrated, you're going to avoid the really bad hangovers. As administrative assistant can attest, because she always gets to work. When you had your training this morning, what happened? Oh, she doesn't drink during the week. I'm just saying, like today, she had a training. We got a super jet coming in from Jarrett C. Appreciate you. I love that avatar of Kim Jong. Be whatever his dad's name was. Kim Jong-il? Is that what his name was? From World Police. Good stuff, man. Love it. Blah, 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 blah says he's missing the chapstick. It's right here, my man. I don't know if you guys are chapstick enthusiasts like myself, but I got these chapsticks right here. They don't really have a company name on them. Well, they have the Infirmary Cancer Care is where I got these. But my friend Linda P., who I used to shoot on the field with at the football games, she brought me, because we used to share, I don't know, administrative assistant might get skied by this, but I used to share chapstick with Linda just because I would usually carry it with me, and then she would ask if I had any, and I would be like, yeah, you can have some or whatever. And then a few times, including at the national championship game in Pasadena, I needed some, and she had some, and so we traded it. Anyway, she brought me a bag. This thing was absolutely full when Linda gave me this about a year ago. I mean, there must have been 75 chapsticks in this bad boy. And so this is my favorite stuff ever. I think that regular chapstick is too, it's not wet enough. Like it's hard to kind of, it's too waxy. And this stuff is perfect. It's a little thinner. So anyway, I'm going to run out of this stuff. And I'm always grateful to Linda, though, for getting me all that stuff. Oh, my goodness. Jarrett is Cardea 12. All right. I should know that. I know you've done this before. So thank you. Appreciate that, bro. Cardea. A caller during football season, as I recall. Thank you very much for that. Super chat. And also still love the avatar. Absolutely. Let's see. Pete is the worst. Yeah, he's bad. He's wimpy. He's wimpy, and I also have some questions about his choices. I think we all do. I'm not a big watcher of that show. It's just very cringy, and I just can't really get over it. And a lot of people would say, hey, JG, but you watch Real Housewives of Atlanta. Isn't that cringy? That's like fun cringy. I don't know. This is way worse. I'm not going to be watching it unless Madison's on there. And Kyle W says he's crocodile. All right. Now, I'm glad you guys are. I feel like the veil has been lifted. I know who you guys are. Who says Coca-Cola versus Coca-Cola? I don't know anybody that does that. Hey, Corny, I was watching I got this new YouTube thing that I'm really fired up about. And I watch people flying jets. It's like, GoPro video of people flying jets, like smaller jets, like corporate jets. And I was watching one the other day. They flew from Jackson Hole to Las Vegas. And when they were flying into Las Vegas, I was like, let me see if I can find Corny's house. But I never found it because I don't even know where it is. But I know you live somewhere up there. There you go. Spread Attack U18 says Bachelor in Paradise is better. I'm not going to watch it. Honestly, I'm not going to watch it. Some other stuff from this game that I thought was worth noting. Auburn running the 1-3-1 zone more than once. Auburn probably had 6 to 10 possessions in the 1-3-1, and I don't know how effective it was, specifically possession by possession, but it was interesting to see them changing it up, and at least it gives Tennessee something to think about. When you make those changes from man to zone against Auburn's offense, it generally takes like 3 possessions to get things figured out. I thought it was worth a gamble to see if Tennessee would register it. And I don't remember them hitting a 3 over it, but, again, I wasn't paying that close attention. I need to go back and look at that if I was going to do that. Samir missing 2 front-end free throws. Those are 1-and-1s, and he missed 2 in the final 5 minutes, so that was tough. But it didn't end up mattering. It's just, second half, bench points, 15-2 in Auburn's favor. 9-2 advantage in second chance points during the second half. 15-7 advantage in Auburn's favor, points off turnovers during the second half. And Dowdy had 14 points on 5 of 8 shooting in the second half. So second half was a big, big deal for Auburn. Administrative assistant doesn't even know this, but Auburn was down 17 at the 14-minute mark left in the second half, and they win this game by 7, I think. Yeah, I know. They like to. This is kind of who Auburn is, They just kind of play. They play from behind. They like playing from behind. Bob blah 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 says that he is actually pal for AU. Word, pal. It's good to have you, sir. I think you're a Mobilian, right? Mobilian? Yeah, you are. And Kyle W. Crocodile says, I'm the board manager for the 10 members. I guess that's like you got platinum, gold, silver, and then 10. I guess it's at the bottom. And I also think that your avatar, not here, but on the Bucker, is pretty funny. It's is it like MS Paint or whatever? It's like an Auburn. It's a Rivals jersey, like the de facto default avatar, but you actually drew yours. It's pretty funny. Chris S. says, it's interesting. Seems like after the Kobe incident, watching flying videos has had a resurgence. That probably did get me going, honestly. I mean, I wasn't looking for crash films. I have another problem in that, I don't know, I was probably drunk one day, but a long time ago, my daughter tricked me into saying that if she ever graduated, when she graduated from high school, obviously she was going to, but that she could go on a European trip. And I was probably drunk, and I was like, sure, I don't care. It's 10 years from now or whatever. Well, the day's coming up, so I've already promised her a trip to Europe. And those of you who listen to G-Pits know that I've worked through the travel agent that Neil's site works with, which is a guy named John Edwards out of Memphis, and we have our European trip set up. Now then, I'm not a fan of flying per se, and I'm really not a fan of flying over water. Now, I do it to go to the Caribbean because there's a lot of booze and good times ahead of me when I go down there, and I know that. I can kind of, for 3 hours, I can just sit quietly and work my way through it knowing that there's a great payoff. This time we're going to be flying to London, and then we're coming back from Amsterdam, and I don't know if the payoff's there for me this time. It's not about me. I get it. It's a trip for her. But anyway, I've been nervous about flying in general here lately because I know that's coming up. So I've been watching these flying videos, kind of convincing myself that flying really isn't that big a deal. Like, I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be fine. I know I'm going to be fine. People are flying over the Atlantic like right now and all the time, every day, and very few of them ever have any trouble. We probably don't know anybody on this chat. Is there anybody anywhere who's had any problems? It's all good. And if there's a problem, we'll go to Iceland or we'll go to Greenland, and I'll put an American flag down, and we're going to claim it. You know what I mean? We'll figure something out. But I'm just kind of getting myself more comfortable with the concept of, hey, man, these pilots got it made. It's cool. They got all this technology. The plane flies itself. It's all Gucci. No problem. That's what I've been working on. Blake D says Jalen is a playmaker, and I hope they find a way to get him and Isaac out there together. Hell yeah, they would definitely work together well because Jalen plays 4 and Isaac plays 3, and yeah, that would be a great pairing. They would love there. Alpha Tiger says, signing out. One last year, welcome for calling DCAM 3 at the end. Yep, got to give you credit, Alpha. You did post it on the bunker. You said something like, watch DCAM come out here and make a big shot that turns this game around. Boom. And that's exactly what he did. He hit that 3 with about a minute left that gave Auburn, I think, a 4-point lead. And it might have been a 3-point lead at the time, and gave Auburn a little bit of breathing room there for that last little stretch. So that was a huge shot, and Alpha Tiger called it. So it's basically like Alpha Tiger made the shot. So great shot, Alpha Tiger. Nice job. Let's see. Corny says Henderson is the senior community near the Southern Mountains. Is that where you are, or are you telling me that's where they were flying from? That's where they were flying over, because they were coming from the north for sure. Bob Blob 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 says, why do we keep falling behind double digits? I don't have a good answer for that. My guess is that Auburn just likes playing from behind. I don't know. I just think they're more comfortable doing that. I don't know. I don't know why, though. I don't think I would be, but they are. And it ain't about me, is it? We've already discussed this. Oh, my goodness. We got a lot going on over here. Nick S. says, Goat Island Tap Takeover at Capitol Oyster Bar tomorrow night, 5 to 8 p.m., if any bunker members want to come out. Uh-oh. Looky there. Look who's back, guys. Patrick D., better known as Why Not AU, says this karma is all because of the JG post of bunker love. I did post to the bunker last night that I love everybody, and I was looking forward to doing the brain drain after that big dub tomorrow. At which point the bunker, which has been skeptical of this basketball team, says, JG, are you calling your shot? I did not make a comment one way or another on that. I just wanted you guys to know I love you. Of course I do. Of course I do. Why wouldn't I? And Patrick, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. You're always here for us. Spread Attack U18 very wisely says, in de facto, Alpha made the shot. Absolutely. It's via the transitive property, Alpha made the big shot. He should be absolutely commended for that. Amanda M. says, what was the last game excuse me, we won that wasn't a great comeback? That's a good question, Amanda. Let's take a look at that one. Let's see, Auburn Tigers. That would be the win against Kentucky, 75-66. Auburn was definitely in control of that game the last 5 minutes. So that would be the last one. I mean, Kentucky's an easy win now, you know. Not necessarily at Bunk, and not at Rump. Patrick D says you did it, JG. What can I say? I'm here for you, man. How could I not be? Michael P., my fellow Browns fan, says J. Will gets mad props. Absolutely had himself a game. We now have the Ken Palm is updated to reflect the game. I sure wish there was a way. I know I could show you my screen. I know there's a way to do that. Dadgummit. Let's see if I can do it. I'm going to try it right here live. If it screws up, then I don't really care. Why does it matter? Let's see. Screen source? No, we'll go with display capture. Hell yeah, we'll do that. Let's see how bad this screws it up. Oh, damn. Don't do that, JG. Yo. Screwed that up, didn't I? Melee says JGT recognized that Alpha called it on the bunker, which pretty much means JGT took the shot himself. Good shot, JGT. I'm here for you. I have a better shooting mechanics than Devin does, but that's fine. No big deal. Screen, I messed up earlier. Look at this. Good job, JG. Way to be, bro. Perfect. That's exactly what we need, Jay. 15 of those. Perfect. If only I could get that working right. I could show you guys. But anyway, Auburn, let's see, they ran it. They gave Jordan Bowden the MVP, which is no surprise. 6 of 8 from 2, 3 of 4 from 3. God, I thought he hit more threes than that. 7 of 7 at the line. So he had a great game, and we all knew that. Auburn's top-rated player on the offensive end, believe it or not, was Al Flanagan, which I believe he got a perfect score of 250. He was 1 of 1 from 2, 1 of 1 from 3, had a rebound and a steal. Pretty good day from him, I guess. I mean, all things considered, but in general, Auburn's top-rated player among people who actually took shots was Devin Cambridge, who goes 3 of 5 from 3. Missed his only free throw, 6 rebounds, a turnover, and a block. So, there you go. I tried to show it to you guys, but I screwed up because I'm clueless. Patrick D says Jalen Williams earned a ton of respect today. The hustle and the enthusiasm gave our guys around him life. Absolutely agree. I thought that was huge. And people would say, wait a minute, you're going to give the MVP to a guy who had 8 points? Nah, I'd probably still give it to Samir, but without Jalen playing the way he did today, they don't win the game. No way. I don't even think they come close. I don't think they even get within 10. If he doesn't come out there and ball up and show some passion and get some of these older guys fired up to say, man, we've got to pick this up. This is our team. We can't let an 18-year-old come in here and carry this team. That's not how we're going to do things. My opinion. So I'm with you on that, Patrick D. Sparrow Empire coming through with a super chat there. Thank you, Sparrow, who's always here for us. I'm starting to think this Okoro injury might benefit us come SEC NCAA tournament time, with Jalen getting in the regular rotation and Allen and Devin getting more experience. Now, there will be some people in the bunker that would poo-poo you and say, yeah, but we lost 2 in a row, bro. But I don't know as though it matters, really. If you can preserve the top 4 seed and still get the experience you're talking about, hey, we've learned that Jalen is worth the price of admission, and, as you mentioned, Allen and Devin getting more experience, if you can still get the top 4 seed, I think it's a good experiment, and I'm with you 100%. If they end up losing these games because of that and they fall out, that would be a little more costly, but I don't know as that's going to happen. We still got to see what Florida and Kentucky do tonight or today and see what happens there. Let's see. Michael P. says, did you get another shot of Grandma celebrating another Cambridge from the corner? I have not seen the pictures come through yet. Let's see if TVE, the all-time great photographer, the GOAT, Todd Van Emst, who works for Auburn University. And he now has Shauna working with him, too, who's like the next all-time GOAT. Let's see. We got a D'Angelo shot, an Austin Wiley shot, and a really cool shot of the kids like in a timeout. That's pretty cool. I'm going to pull that up here, let you guys see that. I can figure that out, how to do that on OBS here. Let me add that picture. The picture's really cool. Image source, image. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one right there. Just give me a second here, guys. It's going to be really big. I'm going to have to size it down. Wow, look at those teeth. Come on, JG, size that down. Big boy. That's a cool picture, man. That's why Todd Van Emst is like the GOAT right there. That's just good stuff. Kind of makes BP's gut look bigger than it really is, which, it's unfortunate, but you can see the happiness. And those guys really love to win, I'm just so happy for the kids. They fight hard, It's a good picture. Todd Van Emst, you guys. Great photographer. The GOAT. We got more coming in. More super chats. One from Ben B. Says, thanks, JGT. Appreciate you, Ben. Always here for us. Always here for us. Dropping a yellow little canary bird. And a Fat Crack, another one of our superstar super chatters. Says, been at the ball field all morning and afternoon. These kids are running me ragged. Did Anthony McLemore have a better game today? Thanks and always, JG. God bless you, sir. Appreciate you, Fat Crack. Anthony was solidish today. He was horrible the other night. Let me see. Anthony, 7 points on 2 of 5 shooting, 3 of 4 at the line, 5 rebounds. Probably not great for a stretch 4 playing 18 minutes, but he wasn't a problem. So he was, better than the other night. I would agree with that. See, Patrick D says we just need to finish out with a better regular season SEC record than last year. Remind him of the SEC record last year. Yeah, need a little reminder? Need a little reset, as the kids say. Actually, I don't remember myself, so I have to look it up. Auburn finishes 22. There's regular season 22-9, 11-7 in the SEC, guys. And then they went on a 8-game win streak until they got screwed in Minneapolis and lost to Virginia. I saw Virginia's playing today, and I hope they lost. Hope they lost by 1,000 points. I hope they got so embarrassed that their girlfriends broke up with them, their wife divorced them, and their dog literally walked out of the house and said, "I will not live here anymore." I hope that's how Virginia feels about it. Warren C. in the house says, JG, we got a new Bettinger in the world. Please command Big Daddy Ding to get a vasectomy. 5 kids, newborn to 19 is enough. Warren, my man, peace and love to all the Bettingers. And to you as well. And Barron. Barron needs our support as well. So, you guys know what I'm talking about. Michael P says, JG, what do you do with all this extra cash from the Super Chat? Full disclosure. I use it for things we're going to be doing for the site, honestly, because we need to upgrade. I would like to upgrade our presentation here. We're doing some good, I'm glad to have you guys on the show, and I think we're doing okay with the scrolling and all that other stuff, but we can do a lot more. Those of you who watch Twitch, because I'm a big-time FIFA player, and I watch Castro. If you guys watch him, Castro actually gave me some tips on how to get going because I knew him through the internet like 7 years ago, and I actually went to him when I first started with this idea. This is back when Hoke was with us trying to do this, and then when he was explaining what I had to do, I was like, no chance in hell that's going to happen. And now we've actually made it a reality, but that's the kind of stuff we're doing. And it's so appreciated because, yeah, it wouldn't be happening otherwise. So thank you guys so much for that stuff. Amanda M says, seems like we can't play hard unless we're down double digits. Absolutely. It surprises me, too. I agree with what you're saying. I don't know. I don't know why it's that way, but it is. We got another super chat coming through with Hornatius, a.k.a. Love the Cat, says, in the shower listening to the show, nerd. Did we need that visual? I don't think we did. Did we? Administrative assistant, did we need to know the Hornatius was in the shower? We did not need to know that. I'm sure he's very happy. He's in a brand new home that he and his wife built somewhere in the greater Birmingham area. I've seen it on the Facebook, and it looks great. Looks like a wonderful house. But, yeah. I'm going to pour just a little bit more brown water, you guys. Want another little sip there. Let's see. Patrick D says Okoro should sit Ole Miss as well. I think that's going to happen, yeah. There's no reason to rush it. And he has a history of lingering hamstring issues. Kyle W. has the balls to say Arsenal about to make a run for top 4, Prem League on notice. Do we like Arsenal as administrative assistant? We do not. We like Manchester United, who's pretty much provably worse than Arsenal, but that's okay. Our day's coming. One of these days, guys, I want to keep soccer comments to a minimum because everybody gets upset. Hey, administrative assistant, what's going on? It's 2:34 on the clock, and we got somewhere to be at 5, so I got 2.5 hours left. I need to go for a walk. Yeah, supposed to. I don't have a lot of steps today, y'all. It happens. I want to get someone on the horn here. I would imagine it would be... Let's see what B-Mat's saying. B-Mat's covering baseball. I hate to keep him out. He's doing that. So we'll see if we can catch up with I don't know if you guys are softball enthusiasts like I am, but Kelly Lynch, who was supposed to go to Auburn, but she ended up at Washington for weird reasons. Not only is she a badass pitcher, but she also hit a walk-off dinger today to have Washington beat Wisconsin. Frustrated by that one. I feel like she should be at Auburn. I'm not hating her decision. I'm just saying her dying father's wish was like, go at Auburn and be great. And then she ends up going to Washington. I know that was for the previous regime, but still. She sure would make a difference at Auburn right now. Auburn's softball team's kind of iffy right now. They're not great. Wow, how about that? Oh, yeah. So let's see if we can get up with Sir Nate or Nathan, depending on how you look at him. King. And I don't know if Jay Lee has watched this too. Sparrow Empire tends to agree with Patrick Duke's belief that Isaac should probably sit out at least one more game. So that's good stuff. We got 2 of our big-time posters that are agreeing with that idea, so that means I'm on board with it for sure. Corny says, I imagine Horn with an innie. I'm sure you're talking about belly buttons, and I don't know why you would think that he would have an innie, but maybe you just know. Maybe you just know. When you know, you know. Michael P. says, when will the bunker learn to stop posting gloom and doom before the game is over? Man, honestly, at this point, I think it's just kind of like a thing where, like, it's kind of like a reverse jinx kind of. They want to be the first one to say it's going to bottom out because they kind of want it to not bottom out. I don't know. It's kind of a weird way to go, but it's not really the thing. Kyle W. says, WTF Man U fans, get out of here. Yeah. Look, man, all the disparagement that United gets, pretty much all deserved. The team's not good, spends a lot of money. The coach is probably not competent, but it's okay. Our best player that we spent $1 billion on, like, hasn't played all year because he's just sour and doesn't want to play. It's not a big deal. Everything's going to be fine, guys. Everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Kadabi says, oh, tell King Nate I give him full credit for the win today. I don't remember why. Haven't heard from Nate yet, so he might be writing. I hate interrupting people when they're writing. Let me check with Jay Lee. My guess is that he did see that. Jay Lee on the weekends, a lot of times we just give him a lot of leeway on the weekends because of the way his work schedule works. Patrick D says it's called chicken blood. Speaking, of course, at the attempts to kind of like reverse the curse, so to speak, by pooping on the basketball team to actually prompt them to be great. You see what I'm saying? I don't really know where you're going with that, Melee, so I'm just going to hold back. I'm not sure if I'd run myself into a cul-de-sac on that one. Uh-oh. Mr. Jeffrey Lee's ready, guys. You know what that means. That means we get Jay Lee on the horn. Because we love Jay Lee. He's always got some funny stuff to say. Who this? Hello? Hey, man, are you there? You there?
Hey.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Hey, man.
Where you at?
'Cause I'm tired of you calling me all the time.
Why?
Got a girlfriend, dude.
Shoot, man. I mean, I got a wifey and you know her. I think you like her, too.
I do. She's a personal favorite.
Of course. When Auburn was down 17 today, Jay Lee, you thought it was over, didn't you?
I went to get the paint can out, man. I was about to start painting.
What were you going to paint?
I painted my upstairs hallway.
Oh, word. And then you didn't.
Well, actually, I turned on the radio and started listening to Andy and Sonny, and I was like, "You gotta be kidding me, man!" So I just stopped and came back downstairs and watched the end of it. It was, when they're down 17, I don't know what it was. Almost midway through the second half, they played like, shat on and on. I mean, I say this I don't know how this team keeps winning.
I know, man. I don't know why they feel like they got to be down a bunch of points to get going, but they do,
But Jalen Williams was huge. Samir came in big at the end, kind of brought him back. The defense, I think Auburn forced 24 turnovers, almost 30 points off of those turnovers, and did what they had to do to get back in the game. And from all indications, the crowd was crazy.
Yeah, it sounded really, really loud on radio. That's for sure. Dang, man. So, no Isaac. They're able to come through without Isaac, and I don't think he's going to play against Ole Miss either, Jay Lee. I don't know if that's going to bother you or not.
Not at all, man. No, sir. I am all about letting a kid get 100% before he ever returns to game action.
I mean, you've dealt with some injuries back in your baseball career, right?
Absolutely. Had a hip flexor, man. You don't want to come back early. And, I'd rather him miss 2 more games and be able to play 100% the rest of the season than try to come back before he's 100%, end up getting hurt or tweaking it again, and be out the rest of the season.
Yeah. Can't have that.
It's a no-brainer.
Who's your MVP from this game? And you got a lot of choices. I mean, Samir led the team in scoring. Jalen really got him going. Javon played really competently the last 8-10 minutes. I don't know. What do you think?
I'm going to go with Jalen, the freshman. He just comes in. I think he played the biggest part. Of course, Samir had the points. I think he had, 22? There you go.
Yes,
and he's the easy pick, man. He's the easy selection. But Auburn had to have somebody in that 4 role produce, making a difference. And Purefoy was certainly not doing it. Was it Jalen that came in for Purefoy, right?
Yeah.
He was playing, and I just thought he gave them the spark that they needed. He filled that hole that they didn't have before. And Purefoy, he's just such a streaky guy. I think in the first half, dude, he was and he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn.
Mm-mm.
I mean, there was ugly misses from him.
Hell, Devin had a 3 that was like 3 feet away from the rim. Like he missed it by so much that everybody was caught off guard.
We talked about this last game. They were so off. You're thinking you're going to miss short or long because they could. They were lucky to hit something.
I know, it's so strange, man. Auburn finishes 7 of 20 from 3 though, which is actually not that bad if you think about it. I mean,
well, what did they start out though? Like 2 of 12?
Yeah, 2 of 12 or 13. Yeah, which is not a great start.
It's atrocious.
Yeah,
it's atrocious. And then the turnovers. Auburn struggles guards, whether it be Samir or Javon. They struggle to feed Wiley inside, like they're trying to, but their entry passes, man, produce almost like 50-50 turnover.
I know. It's crazy to me too. BP says it's because they never really played with a big like him. They're not used to entry passes, and it's a skill. It's a learned skill, and they don't have it yet. But
absolutely,
they're running out of time.
Yeah. But what a great win! Keeps them right there in the thick of it in the SEC hunt. Kentucky, Florida play tonight. Is that right?
That's right. And then LSU's really kind of like half a game behind Auburn. So yeah, it's
right.
It's good. It's looking good right now.
You got Kentucky, Florida, LSU, Auburn, pretty much those 4 teams.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think all within 2.5 games.
Yeah, and then Mississippi State and South Carolina are the next ones down. So,
a nice little dash to the finish, but just a huge win for Auburn. I thought the home court advantage. I think this was 18 in a row at home. Is that right?
Yeah, correct.
Huge, man. That's unheard of at Auburn. What a great day! I
It's
trying to catch up with Jabari Smith too. The 5-star kid from class of 2021 was there. I'll see what he had to say. I heard somebody earlier ask about Jalen Green. Of course, he's the most talked about kid in the history of Auburn recruiting. But nothing has changed as far as I know. I know I did talk to somebody earlier this week. Auburn is cautiously optimistic. I wrote about this in the Hoop Scoops on Thursday. They feel good about him. But they felt good about Walker Kessler too.
Yeah.
You just never know. But they wouldn't trade their position for anyone else's right now, which is a good sign. We know things can change. The drop of a hat in recruiting, especially in basketball recruiting, and not see anything coming. But you gotta like where Auburn sits with him right now. I kind of got the feeling, he's going to the McDonald's All-American game with Sharif. Which will be played on, of all dates, April Fool's Day.
Hey now.
Yeah, and he'll be one of, if not the only, uncommitted guy or unsigned guy at that McDonald's All-American game. So, maybe, it seemed like a good position to be in if he wanted to announce it there. And what a great, for Auburn, or for whomever it is that he chooses, but specifically Auburn, how big would that be to have that kind of exposure at the McDonald's All-American game, to have, the number 2 player in the country commit to you. And presumably sign 2 weeks later on April the 15th.
That'd be huge to have Sharif and Jalen Green together in the backcourt. Yay. That's about as good as it gets on a freshman tip, you know?
Yeah, man. I really hope, just selfishly, that they come so I can watch them up close. That's going to be that would be fun to watch.
Yeah. Jeffrey Lee, it's always a pleasure having you on the show.
Dude.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm a big chapstick aficionado. Is that the right word?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. Anyways, so I always have chapstick on myself, right?
On your person, yes, sir.
I do. I have discovered. Now, see, I'm a balm kind of guy. I like the stick. I appreciate your stick.
Yes.
But I have found this new stuff at the Dollar General.
Yes. What is it?
It's Vaseline cocoa butter lip therapy.
And how do you apply it? You put it on your finger?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's a dip. You got a dip, but it's very small. I used to be a Blistex Lip Medics, the blue container,
Sure,
where you dip it out with your finger, and then I went to the stick because I didn't want to. My fingers can be germy sometimes. So, but anyways, yeah, I found that it's a cute little Vaseline. You know, the regular old school Vaseline tubes, not tubes, but I don't know, canisters, whatever. You take the top off, you get some Vaseline out, and put it on your stuff. Well, this is like a miniature one. It's about the size of a golf ball, maybe smaller and thinner, of course. But anyway, yeah, Vaseline lip therapy cocoa butter for soft, glowing lips.
How about that? Good stuff.
Give it a try. Dollar General, $1.
Dollar General.
Dollar General, $1.
All right, brother. Well, I appreciate that advertisement. That was good stuff.
Yeah. Vaseline rep, give me a call. We'll get you sorted out.
Jay Lee, I appreciate you, bro.
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll see you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Jeffrey Lee. One of the all-timers. I think we got a bunch of them here. Let's see. Nate King says he is now ready. Hate to go back to back with, heavy basketball content like that. But anyway, let's see what I missed on the chat here. Definitely got Sparrow Empire super chat in there, so we were good there. Melee says he snagged a very old Barton half gallon for only $21, a value drink. Yeah, when my dad, he's not a drinker really, but when he drinks, he likes very old Barton. I don't know why. This 1792 that I'm drinking is actually technically in the very old Barton family. But that stuff's not great, in my opinion. Bob blah 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 said I need to ask Jay Lee about Jalen, which I technically didn't ask him, but he answered anyway. Doug D says, how in the world has Jalen Williams not got any minutes this year? My answer to that would be he's playing better now than he was 2 months ago, and D'Angelo continues to be kind of flatline. I'm sorry? Let's say Melee says, full disclosure, is it true that 29% of the super chats funneled to the highlights fund? Believe it or not, the highlights fund is not very expensive. So no, not really. I'm good on that. These gals go into the what do we call that place? The salon, I guess, and they get charged like $125 to $200 probably to get done what they need to get done. Like my biggest bill is $60. So, I mean, I have a lot. My hair's not long. Like my daughter has hair down to here and all this. It takes a long time to get all that colored and stuff. But for me, it's just short. It's no big deal. Let's see. Blah, 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 blah. Please look. This is really creepy. Please look directly into the camera when you apply chapstick. Thank you. It rubs the lotion on its skin. Give it a freaking lotion. Put the lotion in the basket. Jay needs to pucker more, too. This is getting weirder. Weirder. Plains Old Joe's now in the house. You may know him from the bunker where he is Plains Old Joe. Says, what's up, Auburn fans? I'm late to the game. What good chat did I miss? I don't think you'll be able to go back and read that at all. No way. I feel like I missed a good Melee post, but I missed it. I don't know. When he went to Dollar General, I thought he was going crayons. He also says that we used to only get McDougal All-Americans. That's good stuff there. My man Jeffrey Lee in the house. Jay Lee. Anybody else feel like with Okoro, we've been forced to try different combinations and work the bench deeper, and that these things might help us down the stretch, even with Okoro back? Yes, we have talked about it. That could be a great payoff, assuming they stay in the top 4 seeds. If they don't, if they fall out of that, that's going to be a costly endeavor, but I think they'll be able to keep it going. Coming to America reference, spread attack U18, noticed earlier, absolutely, with the McDougals. Absolutely. Awesome to have Jay Lee in the house. Let's see. Oh, it's McDowell's. My bad. McDowell's. You're right. Let's see. We got a super chat coming through from the Canoe Man. One of our all-timers. Says, eat it, Vols. It's that ugly orange. It's that puke orange. There's some snitches, too. Let's see. I'm following BMAT Twitter here. He says UCF has answered in the top of the 4th with a 2-run dong over the left field wall. UCF now leads Auburn 2-1. Now BMAT thought that UCF would take one game in the series, which they did last night. But now Auburn's down in the second game as well. I think UCF seems like it's going to be a pretty good team this year. But anyway, beautiful day for baseball out of Plainsman Park. Hope some of you guys are out there. And Patrick D says he hopes Rick Barnes pulls a hammy. I hope he gets a UTI and it burns like a freaking volcano. I'm just kidding. Not really. I was just kidding. We all want him to stay healthy and happy. Okay. We're going to get Nate King on the horn. I have to dial up his number from Huntsville. Oh, wait. Orlando. Never mind. All right, here we go. We'll get Nate on the horn. Oh, man. I didn't give Jay Lee credit when he got on the horn. I said nobody yet. There you go, Jay Lee. I know I missed you when you were on here.
Hello.
Yeah, how about you?
Hey, man. How's it going?
Go get him, Tiger.
Go get him. Oh, that sounds kind of homery. I'm gonna back off on that one.
Yeah, thanks, man. Nate King in the house, obviously. Nathan, as you may know him. Your thoughts on this one, buddy? I thought they were done for sure.
I thought they were left for dead. Yeah. So when they went down, was it 17 in the second half?
Yeah.
There was absolutely no energy in the building. Auburn didn't have anybody really creating on offense. The Austin Wiley trick, which normally is just to dump it inside to him and let him get you a few points, that wasn't working either. They would go to the free throw line occasionally and only make like one of two. Tennessee would come down the other end and make a shot, and that lead just kept ballooning. But then all of a sudden, almost directly coinciding with when Auburn Arena kicked out the kid who made the xenophobic comment, Auburn went on a huge run, 18-0 run, 20-2 run, however you want to spin it. Samir Dowdy was huge. And from then on out, they started looking like themselves again. So I give a lot of credit to Samir Dowdy for taking leadership there, not only with his shooting and with his ability to perform on both ends. Javon McCormick was great too. But really, he just kind of instilled leadership in the guys. And look, the freshmen were good too. The bench was actually able to produce today, which they haven't done recently. So that's a great win for Auburn that, they just continue to find a way to get things done when it looks like they're left for dead. So that's their fourth double-digit comeback in the SEC this year.
It's crazy to think that it went down like that. Hey, you mentioned the student that was saying something that he shouldn't have about the Uruguayan point guard that was picked up by TV, and then we were told here on the chat that he was kicked out. Is that right?
Yes. So basically, I was chatting. So me and Brian would like to think we played a role in this.
Uh-oh.
So we are chatting with some AU officials that BMAT knows, texting and asking like, hey, what's going on? All this stuff. And meanwhile, I'm communicating through Brian what my friends down in the student section are telling me. They're basically telling me, look, we know who the guy who said it. We know who it is, but they keep missing him, and he's not admitting it, and nobody's admitting it. And so we basically sent a text to the guy we were texting and said, hey, we know who it is. Go talk to this guy. And they went and grabbed him and took him out. And again, it almost perfectly coincided with Auburn's huge run at the end of the game. Yeah, I mean, just an awful thing for him to say. Clearly he wasn't thinking, but that's just a terrible thing for him to say. And like Bruce said, that's not indicative of all those students. To me, I was just a little disappointed that nobody ratted him out. I mean, I know you don't like to be a snitch, but at the same time, like, okay, now everyone kind of pins it on all of you if you're not going to say who did it. So I kind of wish people had stepped up beforehand, but good on Auburn Arena for throwing him out.
And, I mean, the rumor here on the chat is that he's out for a while, too. Like, they don't want him to come back.
Yeah, that is what we heard as well, is that some AU officials are going to try to get him banned from the games, certainly the final 2 home games, but maybe something a little more substantial.
And this is just a student? Like, he's just like a regular old dude?
Yeah, he's a student. It was the student-only section. It was the area at the very bottom of the student section. Those kids had to have waited probably since 5 or 6 a.m. this morning to get the really, really good floor seats there on the bottom. And he just made a boneheaded comment, and boy, it's probably going to cost him.
Yeah, that sucks. I mean, he can't watch Coach Pearl in all his glory, you know?
Right, like we can.
Yeah, which, and watch him sweat and watch him win and watch him engineer these comebacks. Samir was awesome, obviously, Nate, and Javon did a lot of great things, but I thought this comeback would not have started without Jalen Williams doing the things that he was doing. And so I think he needs to get a lot of pub from this win. What do you think?
Yeah, I think this really kind of confirmed that all the chatter we were having this week, I think all the discussions we were having with Bruce Pearl this week about Jalen Williams, about his minutes before Georgia, and then he got those minutes against Georgia, and he played pretty well in a lot of different facets. And then I think he played 15 minutes tonight after playing 16 against Georgia. He was phenomenal. I mean, the self alley-oop is what people are going to remember, but he was creating shots for himself all over the floor. He banked in a few of them. He had a few good post moves to him. His offensive rebounding rate was second on the team, only to Austin Wiley. That's something you definitely want to see from your power forward. And he really stepped up as well. And then I think, obviously it was because D'Angelo Purifoy had 4 fouls. But D'Angelo even played really good defense down there at the end of the game. He had a big steal on Tennessee's second to last possession. And Anthony McLemore was plus 20 today. So that was phenomenal for Auburn as well. So I thought, from that 4 position where it's been kind of shoddy for them recently, they got really, really good production.
Does BP have a position on why they love to play from behind like this? I mean, I'm sure he would prefer they be up 20 than down 20 all the time, but does he ever go into the psychology of that?
The psychology, I think that this team just doesn't exactly have a grip on things a lot of the time, and it seems like they need a good kick in the teeth, whether it's a massive deficit or it's Bruce Pearl in the locker room. Look, Samir Dowdy told us that he kicked out everybody except for the players. It was only BP and 13 or 14, 15 players
only
in the locker room at halftime. And he said, I guess we're not going to see one of those fun videos on the Twitter page about his halftime speech because no one was in there. That's when he really lit a fire in them. And I think Auburn really responded after they got down 17. And again, I go back to the leadership of Dowdy. He's been a great player for them this year. He's been a great scorer. But you can really see it in his interviews, and you can see when he talks to us, and just the demeanor that he has with his teammates and with Bruce Pearl as well. I think he's an underrated leader for them right now. I think he does a lot of good things off the floor. I think as he goes, the team tends to go as well. So I wouldn't overlook that at all. But, yeah, I have no idea why they like playing down so much. Yeah. It certainly makes for a freaking good game, though, because that's one of the best college basketball games I've seen this year.
Yeah, that was really something to see Auburn just come back. I mean, 18-0 run, 20-2 run, get the lead back, and then Cambridge hits the big 3, and it's kind of on at that point. Your thoughts on just kind of putting together what everybody's saying? Do you think Isaac's going to play against Ole Miss in this next game?
Yeah, I mean, I had a cold take then, didn't I? Because I went and watched Isaac at practice yesterday, and he looked phenomenal. He looked really, really good. He looked like his usual self. He was cutting to the basket really well. He was making jump shots. He was dunking a few times. He just looked, in general, pretty quick. So I thought, there's no way he doesn't play this game. Tennessee, as we saw, and as Bruce Pearl talked about, is the number 1 defense in the SEC. They do a lot of things really, really well, up there with some of the best in college basketball on defense. I thought they needed him to create his own shot today, and it turns out they kind of did, but I guess he wasn't able to go. So I guess I would be shocked if he doesn't play this next game. I mean, I kind of understand holding him out for a while if that's their plan, because you want to assume that they can go ahead and beat Ole Miss on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then I hate to say it, but you want to assume that they'll maybe lose to Kentucky on Saturday. So I don't know. It's an interesting situation because I don't know about the value of playing him right now. I don't know how much it's going to change these next two games.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, Ole Miss, they should beat Ole Miss at home. And I don't know.
They should, yeah. And they shouldn't need him to do that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the guys they've got, the guys they're rolling with, the guys they rolled with today, that should be enough to beat Ole Miss. But you never know. And you run the risk of falling out of the top four, Nate, and you don't want to do that. And you don't want to fall in the top four.
Right, and Auburn is on that fence right now, mainly because Florida's been playing really well. Obviously, Kentucky's got a stranglehold right now on the number one spot. But yeah, I mean, Bruce Pearl brought it up in the post game that you want to talk about all these double-digit deficits. Ole Miss is a team that Auburn trailed by 22 in Oxford, and I think just traditionally, Ole Miss kind of gives Auburn a tough game. They were one of the two teams to beat Auburn in Auburn Arena. They're the last team to beat Auburn in Auburn Arena. Auburn's rattled off 18 straight games, 18 straight victories there since then. You'd like to think they don't need Isaac, but I don't know. I mean, Austin wasn't great on offense tonight. I think he was a minus 13 in the box score. That's not great at all. It was a good thing for them that Anthony picked up his slack. But I really think you need that piece right now. I think that they're an Isaac Okoro away from being back to being a really, really good team. Because right now I just think they're a moderately good team that's got a lot of fight in them and a lot of leadership.
Word. Nate, I appreciate you covering the game for us and writing it up. I haven't had a chance to read it, but I'm sure it's delicious as usual. So you're the man.
Well, I hope you think it's very yummy.
And we're planning to do the rundown probably on Monday since the game's on Tuesday, right?
That sounds good to me. I'm already craving the wings.
So that's the right answer. Nate King, everybody. Thanks, Nate.
All right, JG. Take care.
See you, bro. Nate King, our I guess he's technically our intern, but we're really hoping that Nate's going to stay with us for a little while. So hope you guys enjoy Nate. He's good. Does good stuff. Brings a lot of information in a very short period of time, which is what we like about Nate, obviously. We're talking a little bit about that student that was kicked out. He was caught on the actual broadcast, the CBS broadcast, saying, go back to Uruguay, this is America. Which, I mean, I don't. I mean, no, if he meant that seriously, that's not a great thing to say, but I don't know about a lifetime ban for that, but I don't mean to make it, I'm not making light of it. I don't know. Lifetime ban seems a little strong for that one. Plainsville Joe says not just a fan, it was a student. Melee heard it too, but he was hoping the America comment had something to do with Rick Barnes because it was done during kind of a cutaway to a Rick Barnes thing and not a kid. But unfortunately, it looks like it was kind of aimed at the Uruguayan point guard. Yeah. Kyle W. says Nate King won us the game. Let's go. Nate, you sound like Ruxpin now. Nate loves him some Nate King. Keep doing your thing, Nate. Spread Attack U18 says Nate is good. Pay him. We are paying him. He is a paid intern. And I've given him at least one pay bump. I might have given him two, but he's making a lot more than he was when he started here, like 4 times more. So, yeah, we definitely, when we identify somebody who's a good young talent like Nate, and Ben was doing a great job before him, we definitely want to keep him. So, yeah, we've been paying him. And there may come a day where our super chats help keep Nate here too, you know? I mean, if he's going to be a full-time reporter, career-wise, we got to figure out ways to get him paid. And I'm not asking you guys for that. I'm just saying business-wise, when you guys get frustrated and say, well, why you have advertising here and there and everywhere, it's like, well, we're trying to grow the staff, and that's kind of one of the ways we do it. But you guys know I love you guys. Always got to know that. Yeah, Spread Attack U18 says, oh, that's awesome. Absolutely. I'm paying him more right now, significantly more than I've ever paid an intern. And, I mean, he's doing a great job. So, I mean, he deserves every penny. And we've talked about him staying on beyond, because he graduates in May, and he and his fiance are planning to stay here. So, yeah, we'd love to have him. And we're going to try to get that done. I think we'll be able to get that done. Bob, blah, 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 blah says, scouts have figured out Wiley takes the ball below his waist and they are stripping the ball. Absolutely. We talked about that early in the show. Like, first thing he does when he gets the ball in the post and he's initiating an offensive move is he bounces the ball. And you can see Tennessee doing whatever it could to come around from the backside and tip that ball away. They got it away twice. Another time they got it, and he was just kind of bumbling the ball around. But it was causing disruptions, and you just got to change that up a little bit. I think that BP and those guys know that, and they tell him, and it's just hard for him to get out of those old habits. And Spread Attack U18's now calling me a YouTube e-beggar. I am not doing that. I know you're kidding, but anyway. Some people do that, I guess, but I'm not going to do that. Kyle W. says Bruce and staff don't get enough credit for bringing in all these freshmen who aren't highly rated. Jalen was number 120 in this class. Dude, 120 would have been like the featured player at Auburn for the last 20 years. Flanny Cambridge playing way above their rating. Yeah, Flanny's kind of a special case, right, because his dad's on the staff. But he was a baller. He's the player of the year in Arkansas, and we were blown away by the numbers he was putting up in the playoffs. It was like 35 and 10. I mean, every game was like insane. He's playing at a slightly smaller classification, but we figured he could play. And, I mean, he's starting as a freshman now. He's not the best starter they got. He's not even the top half starter they got, but I think he's got a future. I just don't know if it's going to be as a sharpshooter, that's all. But he plays good D. He gives you a lot. He raises hell out there. I mean, definitely. And his heart's in it. We can question a little bit of the heart of some of these other guys at times, but I don't question Al. He's out there balling. He's playing as hard as he could possibly play. And the problems that he makes, I think, are problems of overexertion rather than underexertion. I mean, he just gets a little bit carried away defensively and gets a little slap happy. But it's because he's trying so hard. You know, Troop Taylor used to always say, I always want to tell my guys, whoa, instead of go, you know. And I agree with that. And that's something you never have to worry about with Flanagan. He's always ready to go. Notorious MGM says JGT bestows his special blessing upon those who super chat. Yes, I do. I mean, I love all you guys, but I super, super love our super chatters because they're big time. Jason H. says Wiley is also slow to react when he gets the ball. He reads after the catch, not before. I tend to agree, yeah. Good point. He can be a little slow. Just not mentally. I'm just saying, like, just getting things moving. It's like he doesn't necessarily anticipate the next move. He's just kind of living in the moment, which is fine, or was fine for him at Spain Park, but now it's just different. And the scouting report's out on him, and they know what he's going to do because he does the same things over and over again. He's just got to change it up, that's all. Kyle W. says, this is definitely looking on the bright side of things. Flanny was 100% from 3 today. Bruce can let him shoot 2 threes against Ole Miss now. Yeah, I was thinking he's been shooting too much for a guy that shoots 12% or whatever. But Flanny goes 1 of 1 from 3. 100%, guys. There you go. That's what I love about the chatters, yo. We've always got somebody smart coming through with a big-time scoop like that one. Good stuff, Kyle. Way to be. I will probably wrap it up, y'all. Hour and 45 in. Yeah, we'll probably do that. It's a beautiful day outside. My goodness. It's been raining here for like the last week, it seems like. But, yeah. Wrap it up. Have a chance to get out there in the sun a little bit. Get some walking in. And, yeah. So, y'all, appreciate you, especially all of our super chatters. I want to run through the roll because you guys are absolute heroes and legends, and I want to make sure everybody knows that. Our super chatters today, we started off with Nick S., my man. By the way, they're doing a beer tap tomorrow, a beer tap takeover at the Capital Oyster Bar tomorrow. So be sure and check that out in the afternoon hours. I forgot. Nick put that up earlier, but I forgot what the hours were. I don't want to misstate it. But Nick S., Caddy Wumpus, Call Me Biscuit, Corny, my man Corny, who lives in the Las Vegas suburbs, Stu Pup, who's always here for us, Jarrett C., also known as Cardea, Patrick D., also known as Why Not AU, Sparrow Empire, Ben B., Fat Crack, Warren C., Hornatius jumped in here as well, and Sparrow Empire and the Canoe Man. Yeah, a lot of Hall of Famers in that group right there. A lot of it. Scott Blank says, oh no, I missed it. You missed the show. Dude, we've been on for like the better part of 2 hours. Yo, 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 yo. Andrew B says, good show, JGT. Peace. Appreciate you. Glad to have you on the show. I know you think you let off with the first post of the whole show. So thank you for sticking around, my man. And to all of you who are just kind of watching and not posting, love you guys too. Appreciate you tuning in. We got great baseline. When I did this show in the beginning, I was hoping to get 25 people, and we do a lot better than that most days. and today included. So definitely very, very grateful for that. Scott Blank says, where can I get plus-minus stats on the game? Well, I can show them for you. They're on the screen right now. If you take a look at that, it's that last column on the right. So like where it says Dangel's plus 11, Javon's plus 3, Austin's minus 13. And that is, for those of you who don't maybe follow the analytics of basketball, it's still kind of a basic number. But it says how did Auburn perform as a team with that person on the floor? So when Dangel has a plus 11 plus minus, that means that during his time on the floor, Auburn outscored Tennessee by 11 points. Conversely, Austin Wiley, when he was on the court, Tennessee outscored Auburn by 13 points. It sounds like a really good stat, and I think there's some value in it, but it can also be misleading because really there was one moment in the game or one stretch in the game from 14:30 to 8 minutes that changed the game, and that was the 18-0 run that Auburn put together. And so the guys that are in there for that, they get all the credit, and then everybody else kind of gets shit on. Do you see what I'm saying? So it can be a little misleading, but for one game, it's misleading. For a season, it's a very telling statistic. But one game, anything can happen. There's weird things happen in short periods of time. So that is the information. I also tweeted that out, Scott. So if you follow me on Twitter, you can see that. And I posted the final box score to the bunker as well. So if you're a subscriber there, you can check that out. For anybody who's not a subscriber, check us out for show at auburnsports.com. I'm there, obviously. We got Nate King, our young guy. BMAT is covering baseball for us. Auburn's playing the second game of its home series against UCF, the Golden Knights, right now. And he's got basically play-by-play or out-by-out on the bunker. And then he'll have coverage of the game and video after the game. And Jay Lee's our recruiting guy. And we have an intern we're going to be starting out here pretty soon named Maddie. Looking forward to seeing what she can provide as well. So, guys, with that, I'm going to say word out. Appreciate you guys being here with us. Love our super chatters. Love all you guys. It's a beautiful day here in Central Alabama. Get out there and get a little walking in if you want to. Whatever you guys want to do. Play some FIFA. I'll probably be playing some FIFA later tonight. And just enjoy the day and be awesome. Knowing that your Auburn Tigers just pulled one out again and will remain in a very, very tasty position to at least potentially win this conference regular season title. Anyway, guys, appreciate y'all. See you next time when we hook it up here after the Tuesday night game against the Ole Miss Rebels. Until then, keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars. Peace.